Hello everyone, thanks for joining us on this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital Douala, after yesterday's Operation Ghost Town, during which the city of Buea and other parts of Anglophone Cameroon were practically dead. Things have returned to normalcy. Today we will show you the picture of Buea, a busy town once again, even though under the atmosphere of uncertainty and fear that continues looming as the Anglophone crisis continues deepening. Also in this newscast, we should talk about migrants, many of them who continue dying en route to Europe for greener pastures. Those are top stories. Things have returned to normalcy in the southwest regional chief town, Buea, after yesterday inhabitants stayed indoors observing Operation Ghost Town, and yesterday was a dead day in Buea, but today things have gradually returned to normalcy and people are now going about their daily activities as usual, though there is a continuous atmosphere of fear and uncertainty reigning in that part of the country as well as other parts of Anglophone Cameroon because of the deepening crisis. Derek Jato reports from Buea.
Buea, Tuesday the 3rd day of July 2018. The street, the bus station, the market, and the business centers are all busy. The town of Buea is alive again after respecting the Monday sit-in strike instituted by the Amazonian Defense Forces. Today, Tuesday, the people of Buea woke up and went about their activities unperturbed, a visible indication that calm is returning, a calm atmosphere that was almost shattered before midday as security forces again exchanged fire with the Amazonian Defense Forces at Mile 16 neighborhood, a shock that sent many packing out of the said neighborhood for fear of being caught in the crossfire. At press time, Buea subdivision was on motion again as circulation was restored.
And contributions continue streaming in from various parts of the country to meet the more than 12 billion francs CFA target for the emergency aid plan for refugees in neighboring Nigeria and those who have been displaced internally as a result of the Anglophone crisis. And above 5 million francs CFA has been contributed by the Yaoundé 6 Council. Details with Franklin Mwabe.
It is no longer a secret to anybody that youths face a lot of difficulties in acquiring a job, both for those with certificates or those who engage in other activities. The situation is the same. Youths of the Yaoundé 6 have very good initiatives and ideas but lack means to implement or execute them. Due to the impact of these difficulties faced by many youth in the Yaoundé 6 municipality, the mayor decided to uplift the problem by organizing a fundraising session to assist the youths in the community who are involved in revenue-raising activities.
La création du fonds de solidarité pour la micro-initiative des jeunes.
According to the mayor, the creation of the Solidarity Fund raising and micro-initiative plan for the youths in his district is to assist the unemployed youths of Yaoundé 6. He is confident through this means many will be employed and self-employed. During the launch, the sum of 5 million francs CFA was raised.
Comme on dit souvent, c'est du jamais vu et nous sommes vraiment très émus.
This beneficiary expressed delight, saying that the youths will not misuse the money, but they would select feasible projects to invest the money into. Another fundraising session will be done amongst the councillors due to the fact that the money raised will not be sufficient to satisfy all the unemployed youths.
Les 5 motos que j'ai voulu offrir aux jeunes participent de ce que
the mayor of the Yaoundé 6th district added that he's donating these 5 motorcycles to show the youths that it is just a tip of an iceberg to the number of projects the council has for them. He further added that the youths can use the money raised for other projects while these bikes could be used to generate income. It is now left in the hands of the youths of the Yaoundé 6th municipality to present their projects and plans which will make them financially independent.
That was rather a report on a fundraising organized by the Yaoundé 6 municipality to assist young jobless persons in that part of the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. Now coming back to the fundraising with regards to the government's emergency aid plan to the northwest and southwest regions of the country, the Social Democratic Front continue insisting that the government should first solve the Anglophone crisis before any humanitarian action. This is because the SDF thinks that the initiative taken by government is synonymous to taking the second step before the first. Details in the following report.
According to the SDF senators during a press briefing in the nation's political capital Yaoundé, the institution of the Special Humanitarian Emergency Plan initiated by President Paul Biya to help displaced and aggrieved English-speaking Cameroonians in the northwest and southwest regions is less important than dialogue, which could be a possible solution to the Anglophone crisis.
We, the SDF senators, have expressed our reservations regarding the ongoing contribution or donations. Our reservations are predicated on the fact that priority should be given to inclusive dialogue that will lead to a lasting solution to the crisis. A project that focuses solely on addressing the humanitarian component of the crisis while violence escalates with every passing day is clearly designed to fail. For in our considered opinion, it is tantamount to putting the cart before the horse.
According to the SDF senators, ever since the humanitarian emergency plan was launched, the death toll continues to rise in the 2 English-speaking regions as violence and gun battle continue.
The question that begs for an answer is thus: under which emergency humanitarian assistance plan shall the additional losses be covered? A comprehensive approach is therefore required, beginning with an emergency peace plan that will stem the tide of violence and put an end to further killings, destruction of property, and displacement of persons.
To the opinion of the SDF senators, the proper approach to manage the humanitarian emergency plan would have been
the setting up of a commission headed by an independent personality that would include other political parties, religious, civil society, and traditional authorities to manage the humanitarian effort.
The senators find it unacceptable the persistent refusal by parliaments to carry out debates on the Anglophone crisis, but instead are now compelled to contribute towards an effort over which the parliamentarians seem unable to control, despite their constitutional power to control government's action.
Coming up, we take you to Ndikinimiki in the central region of the Republic of Cameroon, where we're going to take a look at efforts by the population to take that part of the country out of underdevelopment. A development association has been created for Ndikinimiki. Details with Innocent.
Ndikinimiki is a subdivision in the Mbama Enugu division of the central region, known about to distance itself from other neighborhoods in the division in terms of development. Inhabitants are hoping to welcome better social amenities and amelioration in their income-generating activities. This is due to the birth of Ndikinimiki Development Association, headed by David Makup as president.
Voici venu le temps de la marche ensemble.
He calls on sons and daughters of the locality to rise up and contribute towards the realization of the association's goal, the development of Ndikinimiki.
Pour qu'ensemble nous prenions possession de notre maison commune.
Members of the Development Association were urged by the Senior Divisional Officer for Nimbaman Enugu, Justin Mvondo, not to transform the association into a political forum.
Si c'était la politique, je ne serais pas venu. Je suis venu pour accompagner le développement.
What the Senior Divisional Officer expects from the population before development commences is unity, an aspect which he claims is still invisible.
Craignez de voir rassembler.
Most administrative authorities charged with development, like the mayor, was nowhere to be spotted during this special ceremony to install members of the Nzikinimeki Development Association. The Senior Divisional Officer called on all to resolve their differences and join hands to accelerate the development process of the locality.
À partir du moment où ça va prendre des connotations de l'autre que vous connaissez là, vous ne me verrez pas.
6 months have been given to the Bureau by the Senior Divisional Officer to produce first results, expected by the end of this year.
Out of the country, Africans continue dying in the perilous journey through the sea to Europe for greener pastures. Dozens of African migrants have been declared missing off the coast of Libya. Their boat capsized about 31 kilometers from the capital, Tripoli. 41 others have been rescued. Courtesy Equinox.
Dozens of migrants are missing in the coast of Libya. Their boat capsized about 31 kilometers from the capital Tripoli. While 41 people have been rescued, 170 are thought to still be missing in the Mediterranean Sea since Friday. So far this year, more than 1,000 people have died while sailing from Libya to Europe. On Monday, the Italian Interior Minister Matteo Salvini discussed migration with the Libyan authorities. In Tripoli, he met with the Libyan Deputy Prime Minister of the Government of National Unity, Ahmed Mitig. The Italian government has said it will give Libya 12 boats to support authorities in an attempt to fight what they call human trafficking and curb the flow of migrants to Europe.
Coming up, the smart side of the World Cup. Smanji Kankebre, the latest from Russia.
Good evening, Babila, and good evening to our numerous televiewers out there. The latest is that the quarterfinals pairings are steadily getting to an end, and I want to say it's just left one country for us to know who is and who will not be. The last match this evening is going to pit the Wonder Boys, who are going to have Colombia to take on England. But before that encounter this evening, the first to qualify for the quarterfinals this evening, we already know that was the first game that was played this evening, maybe in the afternoon.
Sweden against Scotland.
It was Sweden that actually defeated their opponents of the day, Switzerland, by 1-0. And just to note that the lone goal for Sweden was scored late in the course of that game, and it was a goal that was scored by one of their strikers, and one of the strikers whose name we got as Forsberg is a person. But let me tell you that it was a top good fan. The number of fans, Swedish supporters, were there, and they game very well. I want to say the game also was so very entertaining and very difficult for both sides, because we see at one point of the game we had people who are trying to pull others dressy jerseys, but at the end of the day it was Sweden, thanks to a goal from Forsberg. Forsberg played it on jersey number 10 for Sweden, who scored that goal. And just to know that Sweden is actually putting up that wonderful show is for the first time. So Sweden beat Switzerland 1-0. The goal came late in the course of the match, and that goal was scored by that great guy they call Forsberg, who scored the lone goal for Sweden. So full time it was 1 for Sweden and 0 for Switzerland. So
the two countries, Sweden and Switzerland, were up to the task.
They were up to the task. It was a very nice encounter that we watched this afternoon. All of them were determined to pick up a qualification ticket, but you know, it's football. One must win.
There must be a winner,
and another person must go. So that is it. And just to know that Sweden, after beating Switzerland in that 1-goal victory. They have made a record for themselves this evening. Just to know that before now, Sweden had never moved to the stage of quarterfinals of a World Cup. But Sweden, the wonderful team of Sweden that you see, they are now going to the quarterfinals. This is coming after 1994. That is to tell you, in 1994, that is 1994 was the last time they arrived at that level. And talking about statistics of that match. If you have to go through the statistics, you want to understand that Switzerland actually dominated Sweden in all bets. At the end of the day, it was just one single mistake that cost Switzerland, and Switzerland, they are packing out and they are moving out of the World Cup at the level of the knockout phase. And of course, we had time to look at the head-to-head statistics between Switzerland and Sweden. That was before the game. And what did we find in the course of that head-to-head statistics that we discovered? You must see, it is a tough statistic between the two of them. They have head-to-head. Both of them have a total number of 10 wins each and 7 draws, to tell you that it was a very tough match that we watched this afternoon. And in terms of goals, we have Sweden that has scored more goals than Switzerland, 43 for them and 39 for them. So if we have to add the goal this evening, it is 43 goals or 44 goals for Sweden and 11 wins for Sweden against 10 wins for Switzerland. So those were the stats that we had. That was before the match, and knowing that it was a match, a 50-50% win for both sides. At the end of the day, maybe the statistics didn't actually fail us, as it was the better side or the person that took the advantage that actually won the day.
And the situation between Colombia and England is not very much far from this.
Yes, the situation between Colombia and England is not very far from this, as you rightly put it. But just to note that the match is going to be a tough one. If you look at it, Colombia has never beaten England in any match, in any competition. Colombia 0 head-to-head. England, they have beaten Colombia thrice and they have drawn 2 games. 10 goals for England and 3 that England has actually sucked or conceded from Colombia. So I want to tell you, the last time both sides met, it was some years back, and of course England during that period, in the last time that both of them met at the FIFA World Cup, England beat Colombia by 2-0, and in a friendly encounter when they met, it was still England that beat Colombia by 3-2. So all of the statistics tells us that this evening, though we cannot really count on it, but most statistics that we show at times, they come back to play over the teams that have always been like slaves to the other team, because it's like England is the super house in terms of football. But
even though it is often said, and most often correctly, that the football itself is round, and the pitch is flat.
The football itself is very round, but the pitch flat. At the end of the day, maybe we'll see whether the statistics do play us well.
And that's probably why we've had a lot of surprises in this World Cup.
That is it. And we're already showing you the road to the Golden Boot. Who is going to pick that award for the top goal scorer? Many people are asking the question that if Harry Kane is going to seize that opportunity this evening to increase his goal tally, because for now, there is one person who is already off the classification. Cristiano Ronaldo is off. We have Romelu Lukaku. They played yesterday, but Romelu Lukaku for Belgium couldn't score. So they are asking the question, Harry Kane of England playing against Colombia today, is he going to score his 6th goal at a World Cup competition? Question that we are going to answer in the course of that match. But just to note that the Golden Boot is already certain, that most of those who were contending to actually pick up the Golden Boot, they have already been eliminated.
Off the game.
Yeah, they are off the game. And just for us to know that in terms of other issues that we have this afternoon, just for us to enter the other phase, which is actually the match that saw Belgium play against Japan yesterday, and it was another mouth-watering encounter between Eden Hazard and the Samurais. They call themselves the Red Devils of Belgium against the Samurais. And I want to tell you, the Samurais of Japan led Belgium 2-0, and a goal rejuvenated the Belgium side that actually came back so powerfully to actually overpower the Samurais of Japan by 3-2. And I want to tell you, Babylon, it has been a long time since a team came from 2 goals down to overturn the scores and eliminate their opponents in a quarterfinals at a knockout stage at the World Cup. The last time this happened was in 1954 when the finals was played in the FIFA World Cup, and that was Western Germany. This time around, the Red Devils repeated just that feat, and it's coming more than some 40 years after that has happened. So the Red Devils of Belgium, they are set, and of course they have their opponents already. They know their opponent is none other than the Seleção of Brazil.
Now,
so
the fixtures of the quarterfinals.
No, before we get into the fixtures of the quarterfinals, there was something that the Japanese began from day one, and they completed. What we saw after the match, maybe before we get the fixtures of that, the quarterfinals that we already know, we are going to come back to that. This is a Japanese dressing room. After the match, they entered into the dressing room, cleaned everything, and a message there to say thank you, Russia, for welcoming us. The fans also, notwithstanding the defeat, they had time to pick every date in the stadium, notwithstanding their defeat. So it is a good habit that the Japanese actually brought to Russia, and they left with that. As you rightly put it, we already know the fixtures after today's match, England and Colombia, that we must have known the person who has qualified. They will have 48 hours of rest, meaning there will be no match tomorrow, there will be no match on Thursday. The matches will resume on Friday, and it will be Uruguay versus France, Brazil versus Belgium, and on the other end we have Russia versus Croatia, and today we have Sweden that is going to wait for the winner between the Colombia versus England encounter. We are going to finish this package to say that many people thought this man will be sacked after Germany was knocked out at the group stages of the tournament, but the Mannschaft head coach Joachim Löw has been maintained as the head coach of the national Mannschaft, even with the dismal performance of the reigning champions at the World Cup. So the national Mannschaft, the German Football Federation, has decided to place his confidence on Joachim Löw, and of course he's going to remain head coach of the national Mannschaft. No shaking for him, he's going to remain as the head coach. So they have continued to leave him even though he had poor results.
Should Cameroon learn something from this?
It is a lesson for all African countries, not only Cameroon.
We have been changing coaches after poor performance.
After poor performance, I know most of the times our coaches being changed linked more to financial issues, not even really because the coach don't want to continue, and maybe some little
other things behind the scene.
Yeah, other things that we don't see, but we only hear after. So most of the time is finance and not more of whether the coach is performing or not. But I'm sure it's a lesson for all African countries that even if a coach performs poorly, he has something better to offer in future.
Thanks, Smart Jikan Gabriel. That was the smart side of the World Cup. Thanks for staying with us. Goodbye.